All right, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? How is it going? I am Is There No One Else? And the video I'm bringing you today, we are going to do a gear set review on Caluurion's Legacy. Now, if you guys have been paying attention to the forums, or if you've watched me stream on Twitch, you know I've talked about this set quite a bit. I'm gonna cover this entire set in this video once again, if you have not seen it, because I want to get this out there. This is probably one of the more problematic proc sets for mag classes, and I'll explain why. Obviously, I will get to the stamina proc sets as well, and I will cover those. Those are probably more problematic than any of the magical ones, but you got to start somewhere. Okay, so we're going to talk about Caluurion's Legacy. So with that being said, let's dive into it. Spell crit, spell damage, spell crit. When you deal direct damage with a single target magic ability, you launch a fire, ice, shock, or disease ball at your target that deals 19,137 damage and applies a status effect. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. So when you look at this, direct damage is a light attack. So anytime I light attack every 10 seconds, I'm going to proc this animation. It's going to pop up over my head, and then they sped it up. So if you watch how quickly this actually lands, it's a lot quicker than what it used to be, and it's a little bit quicker than the old proc sets. There is an animation that gives you a chance to dodge it, but when it does fire out, it fires out rather quickly. So this set hits harder than any other proc set. It is single target. You know, Flame Blossom's AoE. Mad Tinker is also AoE, Winterborn is AoE, so it makes sense that they wanted to buff this set because it's single target and it's only hitting one person. But I think for this reason, that's why all these proc sets need to go down. If you look at the damage that it provides, 19,137, if you put this to Nirn, it jumps over 20,000 and it can be buffed by Malakath. I do not wait, no, I do have Malakath on, my bad. But it can be buffed by Malakath. It doesn't show up on the tooltip. I could take this off and you're going to see that nothing's going to change as far as the tooltip goes. But it does buff, Malakath does buff Caluurion's as well. So when we're looking at this, we're looking at ultimate level damage every 10 seconds off of a light attack. And Caluurion's has always been a powerful set. And the only thing that's held Caluurion's back from being, you know, over the top damage is its old modifier, because it used to proc off critical damage. So if you did direct critical damage, you could not, that's when you would proc this set. And so although it had a 10-second cooldown, you weren't procking it every 10 seconds on many classes. The only class that could successfully use this every 10 seconds before was Magic and Nightblade, because you can guarantee a crit from stealth, which would proc the set. The only class that could successfully land this, you know, every 10 seconds was a melee Magic and Nightblade. And we all know melee Magic and Nightblade's not in a great spot right now. The class is definitely very outdated. You don't see many melee Magic and Nightblades because the class isn't very good. So this set just kind of has been hidden for years because the only class that could really use it well was melee Magblade. Now everybody can use it. And what I've said before on other sets, if you can count to 10, you can use this in a burst. So let me equip Meteor, and I want to kind of explain what I'm talking about. But this fits in with a light attack weave. And so all you have to do is light attack to proc the set. Oh, I do have Meteor up. Okay, hold on. So all you have to do to proc this set is I can apply my curse. I'm going to apply my Meteor, Mage's Wrath. I'm going to proc a frag, and you see the Caluurions go off, and I have all this damage all landing at the same time. And when I did some tests, when I was comparing this set, this proc set, I was comparing it to like the new War Maiden. You know, I compared it to the new War Maiden on a fully spec'd out, and I'll provide a link in the section below for you guys, but I compared it to a max stat Magic and Nightblade, you know, just as an example, and you can compare this on any class. But PvP revolves around burst. You know, the difference between PvP and PvE is sustained pressure and dot effects as well, and PvP is burst. And so you'll often see PvE builds not be very successful in PvP because, you know, it's all about landing stuff in quick succession. I've talked about it on different classes. I think a lot of you guys understand that, you know, burst is 2 to 4, maybe 5 abilities, depending on your class, all landing within 2 to 3 seconds to line up a ton of damage. And what I showed is I used to run Caluurions a lot in the melee Magblade. I used to use like Concealed Weapon and Soul Tether, or Concealed Weapon and Soul Harvest, and I was two-shotting a lot of, like, at that point in time, I was two-shotting most players with Concealed Weapon and Soul Harvest because yeah, I mean, people were a little bit squishier back then and whatnot. I don't know how much I can do that now, but the point stands that that was my burst combination. And so I was comparing that burst combination with a similar max stat spec. And what I found is Caluurion's replacing with War Maiden, I was hitting roughly 25% harder, and with Caluurion's on the front bar. And because you can ensure that this lands on a melee mag blade. Now, the issue isn't a melee mag blade. You know, the melee mag blade isn't a problem because in PvP they're not a great spec. But what happens when you put Caluurions on a mag sork? What happens when you put Caluurions on a mag DK? You know, if a mag DK has you locked in talons and they know 8, 9, 10 seconds and they have a fully procced whip, they can just light attack whip, and now you're taking double the damage, you know, because their whip's going to hit for 15, 16k, plus they have you locked in talons, plus you're going to take the Caluurion's proc because you can't avoid it. Or if they can count to 10, you know, they're going to hit you with the leap, and then they're going to light attack whip, and then you're going to take the damage again. You can ensure it that it's going to land. If you're on a sork, and I don't have curse on my front bar, but I could hit with a curse, I could light attack, I could streak to stun you to guarantee that my curse explosion and I don't have streak on the front bar, I'm sorry. So that was a really bad example, but I can curse, light attack, Mage's Wrath, and I could streak. I could CC you, put you on the ground, curse explodes, you take the Caluurion's proc, you can't really avoid it. There's not a whole lot you can do with it. So this set is very powerful. Now, the thing with it is single target, so it can be dodged and it can be avoided. So there's that aspect to it, but there's some classes that are going to make it a lot harder for you to avoid. You know, like Sork is going to be one of them. Mag DK is going to be another one. Those classes are going to be able to utilize this spec a lot. And I tried to show how strong proc sets are by running a 40k health tank and just light attacking with proc sets, and people still didn't understand where I was coming from. And that's fine. But if you're going to run a front bar set, like let's say you're running Spinners, or you're running War Maiden, or you're running New Moon, or something like this, on your burst combinations, this is basically going to outperform any other front bar set you can use on any class in the game. Like that's how much damage it's giving you. It's going to give you, depending on your build, like 20 to 30% more damage on your burst combinations. Now, like I said, in PvE, this probably equals out to very competitive DPS with other classes, because every 10 seconds is proccing. You know, you're going to have a 2, 3, 4 minute fight, and it's not as big of a deal. But in PvP, when you know that you can guarantee that this is going to proc on every single light attack, you know you can add more burst to it. And that's where it's going to be problematic, is players that understand, you know, and it doesn't take much skill to be able to count to 10 and then light attack and then guarantee 2 procs, you know, a 20k plus meteor plus a 20k plus Caluurion's proc with a CC on top of it. You're going to do a ton of damage. That's going to be a lot of pressure, and you can make it unavoidable on a few specs. So I would like to see overall, like I said, the stacking of proc sets, you know, is always problematic, but this set losing its critical strike value is going to make it the replacement front bar set. You know, the only people that aren't going to run this as a front bar set, in my opinion, are people that just don't want to run procs. You know, they're going to be intentionally gimping themselves, because there's no reason to not run Caluurion's next patch on, you know, just about everything. I think I might not run it on Magplar, because I'm not on my burst combination. Sometimes it's a little clunky to light attack weave, so I don't know if I can guarantee it. But on a Magicka Nightblade, Magicka Sork, you know, Magicka Warden, those sorts of things, I think you're going to be able to utilize this pretty well. So for all the complaints, justifiable complaints about New Moon, about Fury, about these sets that are so powerful that everybody's going to be wearing them, in my opinion, Caluurion's is just replacing them. And that's why it's an issue, in my opinion, is because it's so much burst damage. It's going to be such a better option compared to everything else, and it's, in my opinion, it's really not close. Like this set, the amount of damage you get from this really isn't close to any other front bar set in the game. And like I said, I'll provide an example in the section below. So pros, a lot of burst damage, easy to count up, like every 10 seconds, you know this is going to proc, you know it's going to do damage, it's going to give you a status effect, you know, whether it's the burning, major vulnerability, minor maim, or diseased, minor defile, you know every 10 seconds this is going to proc, and this is going to give you one of those status effects, which is very powerful. And it's also going to do a ton of damage. If you can count to 10, you can line up burst to have it land at the same time, and it's going to do a lot of pressure that way as well. Cons, single target, it can be dodged. You do lose a little bit of max stats, so for those of you guys that really like pretty stat sheets, you know, it's not going to be as good as, it's not going to be as pretty as some of those other sets, but it's going to be more effective. So yeah, if you don't have Caluurions, I mean, I would keep an eye on the PTS. I would definitely keep an eye out, but if you don't have Caluurions and this goes through the way it currently is, you should go out and get it, because if you're a Magicka class, because this is going to be one of the stronger sets you can get your hands on due to how it changed. So all the other videos where I was talking about the other sets where I'm like, yeah, this isn't bad, this isn't bad, this is why those aren't bad and this is good. You're getting 5 to 6k more damage every 10 seconds with this set compared to the other ones, sorry. Yeah, so that's gonna be the end of this video. If you have any questions or comments, please provide in the section below. I will do my best to answer it. I'm going rapid fire through all of these sets. I almost have all the Magicka proc sets covered, and then I'll be covering the stamina ones. Like I said, this is the Magicka version. Magicka, this is a very good proc set for Mag. I think the stam ones are more oppressive, you know? So for as much as I've talked about this set, I think the stamina ones are actually probably a little bit worse. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.